There's a meeting I can't stop thinking about. You know the kind. Same people, same slide deck, same question that's been hanging over the organization for weeks. And every single time, the meeting ends with the same sentence: we need more data. So someone commissions another analysis. Someone hires another consultant. Somebody builds a cleaner model, with nicer charts and more confidence in the font choice. And with each new round, the question gets narrower, more specific, more rigorous. But it still doesn't get answered. Not because the team is lazy. Not because the analysts aren't smart. But because the honest truth is, there isn't an answer yet. The answer depends on things that haven't happened. On competitor moves nobody's made. On customers who haven't decided what they want. On a world that hasn't revealed itself. And meanwhile, the window is closing. The moment when the decision actually matters is slipping away while the group keeps asking for just one more insight. And here's the part people don't say out loud in that room. Sometimes, we need more data really is rigor. But a lot of the time, it's fear in a lab coat. It's the most respectable way to avoid being the person who decided. Welcome back to the Intelligence Edge. I'm Nakel Nikiema. This season has been about judgment, how to think more clearly, how to spot bias, how to calm the nervous system so fear doesn't drive the wheel. Tonight we're going straight into the hardest version of judgment there is. What do you do when no amount of good thinking produces a right answer? When the information genuinely isn't available and won't arrive in time? How do you decide well when you cannot know? With me tonight, Dr. Kofi Asante, a decision theorist who studies the difference between risk and real uncertainty. Dr. Maren Lund, an emergency physician who makes high-stakes calls with incomplete information every day. Patricia Vance, a former Fortune 500 CEO who spent decades making irreversible decisions without clean answers. And Elena Rios, a venture investor and scenario strategist building portfolios for futures nobody can forecast. Let's start with the foundation. Dr. Asante, there's a distinction you teach that most people never get formally trained in, but once you see it, it changes how you approach everything. Walk us through it.
It's the difference between risk and uncertainty, and people mix them up constantly. Risk means the outcome isn't guaranteed, but you more or less know what can happen and you have some sense of the odds. Casinos are built on risk. Insurance is built on risk. You can model it, calculate expected values, hedge, optimize. The math behaves. Uncertainty in the strict sense is different. It's when you don't know the odds, and often you don't even know the full menu of outcomes. You're not rolling dice you can describe. You're walking into a situation where the dice haven't even been invented yet.
So launching something brand new, entering a market that might not exist, making a decision where the whole landscape can change, that's uncertainty, not risk.
Exactly. And the uncomfortable part is, a lot of the most important decisions in life and business are in that second category.
And yet we keep trying to solve them with the tools we use for risk.
All the time. People take risk tools, probability estimates, single number forecasts, 5-year projections, and they apply them to true uncertainty. The result isn't clarity. It's false precision. A forecast with 3 decimal places looks authoritative. But if the underlying reality is unknowable, the decimals don't reduce uncertainty. They disguise it. And disguised uncertainty can be worse than obvious uncertainty because it adds confidence the situation never earned.
Can I jump in there? Because this is basically my week every week. Founders will come in with a spreadsheet where revenue in year 5 is projected down to the dollar, like $12,347,892. And you're looking at a market that doesn't even exist yet. And it's not that they're lying. They believe it. The model is internally consistent, sure. But externally it's kind of meaningless. Every input was a guess, just wearing a suit and tie.
A guess wearing a decimal point.
Exactly. The honest version would be this huge range that makes everybody uncomfortable. But we don't know, it doesn't get funded. Precision gets funded. So everyone quietly participates in the fiction.
In emergency medicine, we don't have the luxury of that fiction. A patient comes in unstable, no history, limited symptoms, multiple possible causes, and you've got minutes. The test results you want might take hours. The patient doesn't have hours. So the job is built around acting with incomplete information, not eliminating the uncertainty, performing well inside it.
That's such a good framing. Because in the executive seat, the illusion is that if you're senior enough, you'll finally get the real information. Like the fog clears at the top. But it doesn't. The opposite happens. The higher you go, the more the decisions you receive are the ones data couldn't settle. That's why they landed on your desk.
So seniority doesn't mean better information. It means you're handling the leftovers after analysis has done everything it can.
Yes. If the data could answer it, someone below you would have answered it. Nobody warns you that leadership is largely about deciding when the spreadsheet stops being helpful.
Okay. So we've established the terrain, real uncertainty. Now let's talk about how people break down in it. Dr. Asanti, you described two failure modes that look totally opposite, but they come from the same discomfort. What are they?
The first is paralysis. It's what you opened with, waiting for certainty that won't arrive, collecting data past the point where it's useful, and treating indecision as if it's safer than choosing. But delay is still a decision. It's just a passive decision. You pay the costs of the options you didn't take, plus the cost of time, and you get none of the benefits of having committed. The second failure is the mirror image, false confidence. People paper over uncertainty with a clean model and an aggressive plan that assumes they're right. They decide as though they know. And then they build a strategy with no tolerance for being wrong.
Paralysis wastes the window. False confidence walks right into the dark like it's daylight.
In the emergency department, paralysis has a very immediate consequence. People die, so we're trained out of it. There's a principle we live by. In time-critical situations, a good decision now often beats a perfect decision later, because later has its own casualties.
But you also said you're trained against the second failure too, the overconfidence.
Right. The core discipline is act decisively while keeping the possibility you're wrong fully alive. We treat a working diagnosis like a hypothesis under active test, not a final verdict. And yeah, it sounds contradictory. Commit and might be wrong don't feel like they belong in the same sentence. But learning to hold both is the craft.
That might be the deepest thing we say tonight. How do you commit without getting emotionally welded to the decision?
You stop confusing commitment with certainty. They aren't the same. I can give a treatment with full energy and focus, and at the same time I can name ahead of time what findings would make me change course. Those are tripwires. And because I set them before I act, switching directions later isn't humiliation. It's the plan working. Doctors who fuse commitment with certainty tend to anchor on the first idea and miss the real diagnosis. Because for them, changing their mind equals I failed.
That is exactly what happens in organizations. Leaders think being decisive means never revisiting anything. So they decide, and then they defend. And then every signal that challenges the decision becomes personal. It's not information anymore, it's an attack. The strongest leaders I worked with would say, out loud, in the room, at the moment of deciding, here's what I believe today. Here's what evidence would change my mind. And here's when we're checking again.
So you build revision into the decision, publicly.
Yes. That one habit is the difference between conviction and stubbornness.
In investing we separate this too. There's your thesis, what you believe and what would prove it wrong. And then there's your position, what you actually bought. Disciplined investors write down the thesis first, including what breaks it, and then they take the position. If the thesis breaks, they exit without drama because they already defined what broken means. Undisciplined investors do it backwards. They take the position first, and then invent the thesis afterwards to justify holding it. That's basically rationalization with a brokerage account.
Okay, So if forecasting is unreliable, and if we don't want paralysis or false certainty, then what's the alternative? Let's build a toolkit for the unknowable. Elena, start with you, because your job is literally to place bets where the future is unclear.
The first move is psychological. You stop trying to be right about one future, and instead you build for a range of futures. That's scenario thinking, not forecasting. You're not asking, what will happen? You're asking, what are 3 or 4 genuinely different worlds we might wake up in? And what would we wish we'd done in each of those worlds? It's preparation, not prediction. The value isn't picking the right scenario. The value is spotting what's smart across multiple scenarios and spotting where you're fragile.
In decision theory, that maps to choosing robustness over optimization. When odds are known, optimization makes sense. You squeeze the most expected value out of the situation. But under deep uncertainty, optimization gets dangerous, because you're fine-tuning for a world you assumed rather than observed. Optimized systems are fragile. They work beautifully in the imagined conditions and fail hard when the assumptions are wrong. And under uncertainty, you will be wrong.
So robustness means you're willing to be a little worse in the average case to avoid getting crushed in the weird case.
Exactly. It often looks inefficient. Redundancy looks like waste right up until the day it saves you. The efficient system beats the robust system in normal times. And then the abnormal year arrives, and the efficient system breaks. Under uncertainty, survival matters more than elegance because you only get to benefit from good strategy if you're still alive to compound it.
This is where I get very practical. I have a little hierarchy I use. 1. Prefer reversible decisions, and make them quickly. If you can undo it cheaply, don't spend months agonizing. Decide, learn, adjust. 2. By optionality. Make small, cheap moves that give you the right, but not the obligation, to go bigger later when conditions become clearer. 3. Don't bet the whole business, the whole portfolio, or your whole reputation on one view of the future. Under deep uncertainty, conviction is not verification.
Medicine has a version of this too. Sometimes we do what's called a therapeutic trial. When we can't nail the diagnosis, we choose a treatment that's relatively safe and we watch the response. The treatment becomes part of the diagnostic process. So action generates information. That's a huge concept.
Because it flips the usual sequence. You're not waiting for the information so you can decide. You decide in a way that creates information.
That inversion is what I wish I'd understood earlier. I used to believe the order was, gather information, then decide. But in genuine uncertainty, the real order is, make a small, survivable move. See how reality reacts. Then decide bigger. Markets answer questions analysis can't. But you have to spend something to ask the question.
And the key word is survivable. Small bets work because they keep you in the game. If your small experiment can wipe you out, then you don't have optionality, you have a disguised all-in bet. Never risk what you need to keep playing. The whole method relies on getting more turns.
Now I want to shift from tools to the human cost. Because technique is one thing. But being the person who decides without knowing, that's heavy. Patricia, what does it actually cost to carry that role?
More than people admit. The funny thing is the technical stuff, scenarios, tripwires, small bets, that can be taught fairly quickly. The hard part is living with the fact that you chose when you knew you might be wrong, and then you live with the consequences for years, and you never get to see the alternate timeline. That's what people miss. You never get the counterfactual. The road not taken stays dark forever. And you still have to live as though you made peace with it.
So how did you carry that, day after day, decision after decision?
By judging the process, not the outcome. Under uncertainty, luck contaminates results more than people can tolerate admitting. A careful, well-reasoned decision can fail. A reckless decision can get rewarded. And the world will judge you on outcomes either way. So the only sane anchor is, Did I make the best decision I could with what was actually knowable at the time? If yes, I can live with a bad outcome. If I grade myself only on results, I'll learn superstitions instead of lessons, and I'll get destroyed by randomness.
That's exactly how we try to protect people in medicine too. We do morbidity and mortality reviews for a reason. The point isn't just, did the patient live? It's given what we knew then, was the reasoning sound? Good doctors lose patients. Sloppy doctors sometimes get lucky. If you mix those up, you learn the wrong lessons and you burn out carrying guilt for outcomes you couldn't fully control.
There's another element that doesn't get enough airtime: asymmetry. Under uncertainty, you should weigh errors by consequences, not just by probability. If being wrong one way is recoverable, but being wrong the other way is catastrophic, then you may rationally accept lower expected performance to avoid catastrophe. That's not timidity. It's intelligence about irreversibility. Reversible mistakes are tuition. Irreversible mistakes end the lesson.
And there's a social version of this that leaders get trapped in: outcome bias from everyone around them. Boards and investors, and honestly teams too, often reward results, not reasoning. So a well-constructed bet that fails is treated as incompetence, and a lucky reckless bet is treated as genius. That teaches people to make defensible decisions rather than good decisions. They pick what will look reasonable later, not what's actually strongest now. Because a conventional decision that fails gets forgiven. An unconventional decision that fails can end your career. That's how organizations drift into being wrong in a crowd.
So the fear isn't just the uncertainty itself. It's the judgment. It's the room. It's the story people will tell about you afterward.
All of it shows up at the same time. The moment you decide without knowing is where every distortion you've been talking about this season comes to collect its payment.
Let's do a rapid round to close out the framework. One rule, one principle you'd give to someone who has to choose when they truly cannot know. Dr. Asante, your one rule.
Choose robust over optimal. Pick what holds up across many futures, not what looks best inside a single assumed future.
Dr. Lund.
Set your tripwires before you commit. Decide in advance what would clearly tell you you're wrong.
Patricia.
Grade the process, not the outcome. And separate reversible decisions, which should be fast, from irreversible ones, which deserve your full attention and, honestly, your fear.
Elena.
Make the smallest survivable move that generates information. Then let reality answer what analysis can't.
Robust over optimal. Tripwires before commitment. Grade the process. Move small, learn fast. Here's where I want to leave you tonight. We opened this season with a simple idea: information has gotten cheap, and judgment has gotten precious. Tonight is the sharp edge of that truth. Because tonight is about moments where the information isn't missing because you didn't do the work. It's missing because the future hasn't written it yet. And you still have to move. The point isn't to escape uncertainty. There's no exit door. The point is to act with integrity inside it. Know the difference between risk and real uncertainty so you stop demanding a precision the situation cannot give. Refuse both traps: the paralysis that disguises itself as rigor, and the false confidence that disguises itself as leadership. Commit fully while keeping open, in the same breath, that you might be wrong. Name your tripwires out loud so changing course isn't a public defeat, it's the design. Prefer the robust to the optimal. Move small where you can. Save your fear for what can't be undone. And judge yourself on how you decided, because the outcome was never entirely yours. We tend to treat the most confident person in the room as the strongest one, the leader who knows. But what I'm offering you tonight is the reverse. Real strength is being able to say, I don't know. And here's what we're going to do anyway. And here's what would change my mind. That isn't weakness dressed up as humility. That is judgment at its highest level. And it takes more courage than certainty ever did. My thanks to Dr. Kofi Asante, Dr. Maren Lund, Patricia Vance, and Elena Rios. Next episode, we turn from the decision to the decider, what leaders actually do in real time, under pressure, with people watching. The anatomy of judgment in the moment. Until then, name your tripwires, move small, and keep your intelligence edge. I'm Nakel Nikiema, and this has been the Intelligence Edge.